once again, welcome to round 3, episode 3, whatever you'd like to call it, of the 2022 TikTok Women's Six Nations. It's the Nick and Mo Show. Hello, Mo.
Hello, Jess. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Not too bad.
Excellent. So you got your wish. Well, I'm sure at least a lot of your wish. It would have not been your wish to not be at Gloucester at the weekend. It's a place that's very special to your heart and a place where our home game was played. Before we get on to anything, how was that?
Oh, honestly, incredible. I think I got interviewed a couple of times after the game and choked up every time I was speaking about it. I'm a little bit more back to earth today. But yeah, it was just unbelievable. Even driving in on the bus, just seeing people flocking into the pubs and knowing what it means to that city was just everything. And obviously having friends and family in the crowd as well meant the world. So yeah, loved it. I loved every second.
Little wobble at anthem time, was there?
Oh, more than a little wobble. I had tears streaming. I kept my eyes closed for most of it. But yeah, no, it was real special. I couldn't spot my family. My mum told me the row and I read it wrong, basically. So I was frantically searching for them in front of me, but they weren't. I think it's a good job because I think if I'd have spotted them or my granddad or anyone, I'd have properly gone. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, listen, great stuff. We will come on to that a little bit later, or fairly shortly, I should say, because we are going to be talking to, 3 fantastic guests over the course of this Nick and Mo show, as well, of course, as hearing from my wonderful co-host who was playing for England at the weekend. We have Sarah Bern, who will be with us shortly, England teammate, and of course, Bristol Bears prop, and she will be joining us as we discuss that England game against Wales. We're also going to be hearing from the Italian flanker Giada Franco, former Harlequins player who hasn't featured yet in this TikTok Women's Six Nations, but has plenty to say on where Italy are at and hoping to make her appearance in the rest of the championship. So Giada was a pre-record. We spoke to Giada just a little bit earlier this afternoon. And then we're hoping to be joined by Greg McWilliams, the new head coach of Ireland, a team who, of course, got their 5-point win at the weekend. So let's just have a look then at the round 3 results in case you missed them. England running in 10 tries against Wales. It was a brace for Davis, for Breach, for Abby Ward, for Sarah Bern getting a try, Alex Matthews, Brown, Scarrett, Hunter, lots of familiar names on the score sheet. 1 try for Kelsey Jones. And then in Scotland, well, it was the French who got 4 tries in the first half. Lawson Seuss getting a brace, Tremouliere as well, and Hermé on the score sheet. Chloe Rowley then the only one scoring in the second half. They kept France scoreless in the second half. We'll talk about that a little later. Ireland 29, Italy 8. It was tries from Mulhall, Jones, Higgins, O'Dwyer, and a penalty try to the 1 from Melissa Bertoni, which saw the Irish grab all 5 points. So let's just have a look at how that has affected the table then, as we rotate onto that. So England and France still maximum points. They are cruising towards that match, Le Cronch in Bayonne at the end of the Women's Six Nations. But we have Wales there in 3rd place, still with 10 points on those 2 wins in rounds 1 and 2. But Ireland are on the board with a 5-pointer as well. Scotland with 1 losing bonus, which is in there as a 1 point, and Italy yet to register. So we will start, where things did start over the course of round 3, which was on Saturday, a new record crowd for, I need to get this right, an England home, I think it's just an England home international now, isn't it? Because we were looking to break a Rugby World Cup record set in 2010, and that has been done. Maybe more of those will come. But delighted to say that we could be joined by England and Bristol Bears prop, Sarah Bern. Let's patch Sarah through to join us. Hello, Berna.
Hiya.
Hey,
how are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. Had a nice day off, so yeah, nice to be home.
Yeah, good. Well, Sarah was on the score sheet with the try. The official stats I've seen suggest there was only 1 dominant tackle in the game by England, but it was accredited to you, Sarah. So I think that's pretty good. How did you view the game, first of all?
To be honest, Wales really came out the block straight away. They really messed up our attack, and they were really strong in the set piece. We knew they were going to be. Unfortunately, due to Abby Dow's injury, I think it took a little bit of momentum out of their game, and we managed to regroup and come back together. But yeah, they definitely came out fighting, and we had to really wear them down.
Yeah, and just a question to the two of you. I mean, that was a really, really difficult moment. There were some of us, of course, that witnessed Georgia Evans get her injury in sort of not dissimilar circumstances a couple of months ago in the Premier 15s. How difficult was that? Because obviously hearing a player in distress is not easy. And then obviously the break in momentum that it then causes in terms of the game.
Well, it's horrible. Like for me, like it's as soon as you hear someone scream in pain, you know, it's get the medics on, get away, get them off, get them safe. It's a horrible thing to see, and it's part of the game, but you never wish it on anyone, and you always wish them a really speedy recovery. But yeah, credit to the medics, they got Abby off quickly, and they got Georgia off really quick as well, actually, at the Bristol game. But just hope they're both safe, and yeah, it's horrible. There's nothing positive about it. There's nothing positive.
What was it like on the bench, Mo, at that time?
Oh, like you're just helpless, aren't you? There's literally nothing you can do. Obviously, you feel for Abby, like I feel for her so much. Like my heart goes out to her because she's like, for me, she's the best winger in the world right now. Like the way that she trains, the way that she is, like her persona, everything about her game, she's just unbelievable. Such an athlete. And yeah, like you never want to see it happen to anyone, but especially not somebody that's in that much form, and especially one of your teammates as well. Like it's genuinely like heart wrenching, but. Yeah, just wish her the best. Like we haven't heard massively from her. Like I've tried a few times because I wasn't sure if she was still in Gloucester or not. But just wish her all the best. That like is, and we know that she's in good hands.
Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it, as well? No, you also have to cope with the injury and the rehab, but also you then get a bundle of messages. So the message admin is also pretty big at moments like this. But we do, certainly, from the Nick and Mo show, send Abby Dow all our very best. Another, you mentioned sort of form and ability. I mean, one of those who was performing well, our player of the match for the England game, we could bring the graphic on, was Abby Ward, and a teammate of yours, Sarah. I also was aware that Sarah Orchard referred to you as a Bristol bruiser. Is that a nickname you like, Berna?
I mean, it's not what I'm surprised about. Possibly, maybe let's think of some more, but I'll stick with that one.
Yeah, well, Abby made 10 carries and 7 tackles, so that was a pretty decent effort. But it did seem that, as we're getting used to with England, once the momentum was back on form, then it was fairly, well, what should we say, foot on throat time, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Abby is like such a brilliant player. She's such a driving force, and it's great to work with her at Bristol and at England. She really pushes our standards up, and she's one of our main leaders on the pitch. So I thought, yeah, well played to her. She had a great game. But yeah, so I forgot what you said at the start of the question.
It's all right. It's just talking about the dominance. I'll let Mo can throw a couple at you.
Bristol bruiser, that's why. No, just like obviously you've got a massive. This is going to be weird because we're obviously very good friends, but you've got a massive following. Like loads of people look up to you. I think 24 years old, 43 caps. Like you, as your younger self, what advice would you give? Because that's something I know that we always get asked an awful lot. So anyone watching on now, like, what would you say?
I would say, like, never limit yourself. Like, never think, oh, this is what I can do. This is what a girl can do. This is what my position can do, or anything. Like, because to be honest, like, there's nothing that can stop you. Like, the only thing that stops you is that mindset is, oh, that's as far as I'm going to go, or I just want to get to there. Actually, if you take that away, there's no limits. You can do whatever you want. So for me, that was something. When I was younger, I always wanted to be like skinnier or like prettier or like my sister. I have a big family of women, so it doesn't help in that sense because I was never really like that. I was always playing with the boys, like climbing up trees, wanting to play football. I didn't want to wear dresses and stuff like that. So for me, it would just like be happy being you, and don't put pressure on yourself to be someone else, and also like don't create those limitations around you. You can go and achieve whatever you want.
How proud are you in terms of that physical thing? Because we saw there was a piece last week with Lark Davis about this, and I thought that was a really compelling piece about actually wanting to be strong and needing to be bigger to be stronger. And obviously we know about the way that women's shape and size is perceived in the media, and how negatively it can affect people. How much of a pride do you take in being a strong girl, needing to be the size you are to do a good job, and actually to be that sort of role model for younger girls?
I think it's really That's a really, because it's an interesting question, because in camp you're like, yeah, everyone else is really strong, everyone's really big. I actually don't feel like I'm that big. Then when I go outside into like the normal world, I feel like, oh my god, I am a giant. I was not born in this same world as you guys. So it is. I would be lying if there wasn't a little bit, and every day you're like, oh, I wish I wasn't that big. But then as soon as you step into the rugby pitch, and it's similar to what Lark said, you have to be that size. You cannot get away, or you cannot, be dominant in the scrum. You cannot be able to lift 100 kilos over your head if you're not bigger and stronger and broad. And I think that's what you have to take. You have to look at the positives of what you can do and what you're achieving and what's your role, and then kind of everything else. It's just the thoughts in your head. No one else is thinking it. Like, no one else is saying it to you, so you might as well just ignore them.
I think it's compelling, Burns. Like, you speak so well. I know you do anyway, but no, it's awesome. And one other question as well: how are you so fast? What's your training secrets? Because I think a lot of people watching have seen that break. Obviously, it was on repeat after Italy. How did you get there? What's the secrets?
Well, I have no idea. Eat a lot of food.
said no one that quick ever.
I have no idea. I think my family's quite sporty, but I think I was just born quick. Unfortunately, work hard. I did a little bit of speed training, but I kind of did a little bit of every single sport. So maybe it's something to do with that. Just I enjoyed being physical and active. So unfortunately, I can't give you the magic to that, Mo. I know you want to be fast.
I want to be as quick as you.
I mean, in those moments where it's suddenly opening up in front of you. I mean, I know as a commentator, as soon as I see the ball in someone like yours' hands, and it looks like there's the option for a fend and for you to get into space, I'm almost, metaphorically out of my chair in terms of, well, I know what you can do, and I know where this could go. How quick is the sort of mental thought process for you to go, hello, I could have a bit of fun here. There's I don't know, 20 meters, 40 meters, and if I do this right, this is highlight reel-tastic. Like, does any of that just creep into your mind in the moment?
Not well. Yeah, basically, I just get excited. I'm just like, give me the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball, and then I'm thinking, don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it. So for me, it's like playing sevens a lot when I was younger. To be honest, like, I really wanted to be a sevens player. I wasn't really fussed about 15s when I was younger, if we're going through the pathway. So for me, like, that kind of space and being in that kind of 1v1, I really enjoy that area. And also, like, the footwork and like speed is actually my favorite session of the week, to be honest. So for me, that's like where I'm like, okay, that's my point of difference. Let's light up. Let's go and do something. Let's, change those stereotypes or whatever. Like, just go and enjoy it. And I get really excited in those environments, and I'm probably always looking for that as well. I think that's might be a little bit of a difference. I'm always hunting around, like when Mo came on, I was like, Mo, I'll go with you if you quick tap. I'll go with you. Which I don't think you get that from another prop, to be honest.
I love it, and I guess it means that
the ball.
Yeah.
It means that those of us doing my job, I guess, have got to probably start losing language. Like, my goodness, you don't see that from a prop, because, well, if we're going to see it regularly from you, Sarah, then we should get used to seeing it, right?
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, look, we've got plenty to try and squeeze in. We're so grateful for you joining us, and we know that what you bring to the field in your unique fashion is something that gets a lot of bums on seats and out of their seats when you're on the rampage. Lovely to chat to you, and enjoy the rest of the TikTok Women Six Nations. Sarah, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Cheers, Sarah. What a trooper she is, and box office, right?
Oh, no, completely. And not only that, just such a great girl off the pitch as well. Like, definitely one of my closer mates in the team, and yeah, can't speak highly enough of her. But what she's doing, like the performances she's putting in, and I'm so grateful that I get to play on the same team as her, because you know that she can just do something special whenever you give her the ball.
Yeah, good stuff. Lovely to have Sarah Bern with us then. All right, let's just touch on then the second game of the weekend, which was the first on Sunday, which was Scotland against France. We mentioned earlier 4 tries to France. Sansus getting a brace, cheeky little chip over the top for her first one, a charge down leading to the second. Tremouliere, a little show, and through the hole she went, and then Elmay getting the fourth and the bonus point. Scotland then kept France scoreless in the second half, which we mentioned earlier. Chloe Rowley then getting that, effectively Scotland winning that second half by 5 points to 0. And we can see the Player of the Match award for making, well, ultimately I think it was a points tally. Jessica Tremoulier coming away with 13 points to try and 4 conversions. She's currently cruising at 7 out of 7 in terms of kicks for the French. An improved performance from Scotland, and they certainly managed to thwart a lot of France were offering, but just some lapses in concentration awareness, would you say?
Yeah, it's a really difficult one to try and break down. I think coming out of the Scotland camp, if we look at that first, I think they can be really proud of the performance they put in. There were 2 or 3 tries. Sansous's double, like, come from nowhere, really. Tremoulier, when she's just done that show and go, like, just again, like that lapse in concentration of the in or outside. And I think they're really disappointed with how those tries came about. They obviously had an awful lot of possession. I'd love to see the turnover stat in the attacking 22 for them, because they did have a lot of possession and a lot of opportunity in there, and brilliant to see them come away with the win in the second half. But from a France perspective, they look very different if Sansous is on the field or off. And I know we talk about her a lot, and sometimes I don't like talking players up as if they're the be all and end all of a team. But right now it looks like she is for France. Like, speaking really honestly and truthfully, I think they're not quite clicking, and I'm not sure what it is, but defensively they were ferocious. Like, some of the shots that were going in, like, honestly, it was crazy. Like, Fal is unbelievable at the minute. We talked about her last Six Nations. This Six Nations, it looks like she's put on a little bit more timber, and she's just next level. Like, some of the timing of her shots are fantastic. So looking forward to seeing how France go against Wales. And equally, I think that Italy-Scotland game will be really telling, won't it, in the next couple of weeks?
It will, and what an excellent segue. Very, very good. It's why it's the Nick and Mo show. She knows exactly how to set me up. Because, yes, it is going to be Italy-Scotland the next game. And Italy, we really feel, have been a little disappointing. We've not quite known what to make of them. Expected over the last year or two that they could really hit their straps in this year's TikTok Women's Six Nations, but perhaps it's not come to fruition. So before we're joined by, well, the happier of the two representatives from that Ireland-Italy game, Ireland head coach Greg McWilliams, who's going to be with us shortly. A little earlier, me and Mo had the chance to catch up with former Harlequin Giada Franco, who is not quite fit at the minute. We'll find out how she's getting on, and hoping to be back later on in the championship. Here's our chat a little earlier with the Italian Giada Franco.
Well, hello, Giada Franco. How are you?
I'm really good, Nick. Thank you. How are you guys?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Really good to have you with us. Obviously, you've not been involved in the Women's Six Nations so far. So can you give us a bit of an update? How are you? When are you hoping to perhaps be able to make an appearance?
So I'm really good at the moment. The big week last week. So later this week, I'm gonna do some tests see if my knee reacts well, and I get selected. I hope I'll make it for the last 2. Finger crossed. But yeah. Don't know. I hope to make it to the last 2 too, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we wish you the best of luck with that, and I guess perhaps a 2-week break now is just what you need in order to be able to make sure you're ready. How have you viewed the first 3 rounds? Because I can say from my point of view, I found Italy disappointing from what I thought I would expect, but obviously 2 very tough games, and then Ireland showing a better performance from them. So how have you viewed what Italy have tried to do?
Yeah, I'm like you. I think it's very disappointing from us. We had, like, the first 2 games, you can kind of expect that, because obviously we don't see each other that much. So the first 2 games of the Six Nations are always our toughest one. And this year you've been with France, in France, and then England. Thank you, Mo, anyway, for the performance. And so these 2 games were kind of okay. We're building into it. We're kind of coming back into the international environment. But I think the yesterday game was really, really the most disappointing. I haven't been in camp last week, so don't know how the mood really is. But speaking with the girls today, they're really, really disappointed. And yeah, it's kind of sad, because obviously we had a really good couple of years lately, and I think we were in a good form. But I don't exactly know what is not working, but I just know we need to fix it up quickly, or it's gonna be one of the worst campaign we've had, I think.
I think from my perspective, like women's rugby, we all want to see you back on the field. So it's good to hear that, fingers crossed, you're nice and close to that. What do you know? You said you're not sure what it is that you need to fix up. Like, from you going in, do you think that these 2 weeks now, having this break, will be really good for you, or is it one that you want to be straight out there now? Like, you wish there was a game this weekend to right some wrongs?
No, I think these 2 weeks gonna be vital, to be honest, because the reality is we don't have a domestic championship at this level. So to play 3 games in a row is really tough physically. I've seen from outside really some tired body yesterday. I don't know if it was just my perspective. I wasn't them with girls, but usually we play 2 games, then we have a break, and then the other, and then we have another break. So to play 3 games in a row after France and England and Ireland is really tough, I think, at physical level, but a mental level too. So I think these 2 weeks will be vital to recovery, to analyze, and even to refresh. And what's done is done now. So to start thinking on the next 2 games, they will be really tough too.
And in terms of the professionalization of some teams, where it's yet to happen with Italy, so much of the talk is about people being able to earn money to be professional. But actually, we know that from the athlete's perspective, it's actually about being able to have the time to get the rest and be able to recharge. And so I imagine, as you mentioned, over these first 3 rounds, having to play the sorts of levels of competition that you have, with then having to go back to jobs, with then having to earn a living elsewhere, that actually compounds the issue.
Oh, definitely. I think we are talking, like, the people are talking a lot about professionalism, about money, about doing this for living. And I've seen Rachel Malcolm say, like, we are not professional, but we act like that. And we are exactly like that. And I'm sure of even the other teams are like that. Obviously, it's not easy. I live with Veronica, our number 10, and she came back this morning from camp, and she went straight into work. So she's gonna come back at home like at 8 o'clock and just gonna die in bed and not do any training today, because you can't do any training after a travel day and 8-hour shift. So it's about those things. But for me, it's the most important thing, like, that professionalism could do for teams like us, is just to create a competitive championship. You cannot go and play a Sunday every Sunday and win, I don't know, 80-0 or 50-0, wherever scoring it is, but it's not the level, not any point near the international stage. I had the luck to play at England, in England, and loads of girls, a couple of our team, Michaela and Manu, did it too, and loads of girls are playing in France at the moment. So we know how good it is to play every weekend at that kind of level, and then you kind of feel more ready to the international stage. I think that's a big thing that we need to improve as a nation. And then obviously if you give us the money today, we're not going to win against England, I think. Well, they could try to do that, but we're not going to win against England. It's a process, and it needs to start now, or I really think this gap will only increase.
Yeah, I'd echo on that. I just think it's brutal, and I think it's so important that you mention Veronica and you talk about how she's coming home, going to work and doing that, because that's the reality of where we are with some players. And I think until, personally, I've been there, I've been a full-time professional, but I've also been somebody that goes to work and has to slog it out, and you basically work 2 full-time jobs. And I think the realization of other people watching on and enjoying the spectacles that are being put out is so important for that. But yeah, if one thing for you, so if you're in the girls' camp, obviously next couple of weeks, what are you saying to them? How are you now galvanizing this team to go? And you've got Scotland at home next, right? How excited are you for that challenge?
It's really exciting, especially at home. After this not prettiest game against England, to be able to put a good performance at home, I think is going to be really, really exciting for us, especially here in Parma, that it feels like our home now. I don't know if I'm going to say something. I'm not one of those who talk too much, to be honest, but I like to try and be an example. Is not the real word, but just try and train like I always try to do. So give 100% and, you know, go and play without any fear, without thinking about anything else. I just like to do it this way. I'm not sure it works every time, but
I think
that's what I try.
Playing against you and knowing what you're like, I think it does. It definitely does work, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it certainly does. And Giada, what do you think Italy have done well? Because obviously there have been some positive moments, and we know that there is plenty of skill and ability within this team to build on. So what do you think are the good things that have been happening that we need to see more of?
One of the the best things that happen that don't usually happen with us is a lot of youngers are going through some real minutes on the legs. So we've seen someone like Alissa Dinka or the hooker Vittoria Vecchini. They really are I think real talented girls, and the fact that they're playing a little bit more is just a good thing for them and for the rest of the team. Another very good thing is, I think, we show that we are able to play, like we are able to have good skills and have good pace, but we just need to get it consistently or it's not going to work, and try and fix all these little errors that we've seen yesterday. For example, all those little mistakes, 3 lineouts on Irish 22, 3 lineouts lost. So it's those kind of little mistakes that you need to fix, or otherwise the result is going to always be, the result isn't like reflects the game. Yeah, but I'm tired of hearing this, to be honest. I just want the result to reflect what the game is.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the good news for you is that a certain good luck charm commentator is going to be in Parma for Italy-Scotland. So yes. I will bring everything I possibly can for you, Giada.
That's nice, because every time you commentate, we win or I get the woman of the match. So yes, Nick, I'm gonna offer you a pizza in Parma.
Excellent. I like the sound of that. Listen, we are out of time, but Giada, we really appreciate you talking to us. We hope that the rehab and your race back to the first team in terms of starting against Scotland is as swift as it can possibly be. We're really grateful for your time. Yeah, exactly. Go well. We look forward to the resurgent Italian team against Scotland. Giada, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Mo, for having me.
Fantastic. Wonderful to hear from Giada Franco a little earlier. I have changed location, by the way. So that's the slight change in that. She's fantastic. A mention of a couple of outstanding Italian performers in that. Well, Melissa Bertoni made 25 tackles in that game against Ireland. Sarah Bern from scrum half making 20 as well. So that was quite something. But of course, where there was a losing Italian team, there was a triumphant Irish one. Let's bring in a very patient man. Irish head coach Greg McWilliams has been waiting in the wings to join us. Greg, how are you? Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me. Much appreciated being on. How are you all?
Good, thanks. That's a very fine-looking mantelpiece and hearth you've got behind you.
Yeah, thanks. How you guys doing? How you doing?
We're very good, thank you.
Very good.
So things must have felt a little happier over the course of the last 24 hours, I'd say.
Yeah. Like, yourself, when you put in quite a lot of work, it's nice to get some return on that. So happy with the players, happy with how they've been applying themselves throughout this whole process. I mean, to get the win was important, to get over 5,000 people at another game. We had 6,000 people in Dublin. The place was humming. Just great support. There's great goodwill here for the game. And, the last time I dipped my toe into this was in 2014. I was with the team for 5 years at that stage. It's very, very different. There's a different feeling. The game has advanced a lot more, and we're seeing what's happening all the way across the board, from England through Scotland, through Wales. It's just great to see the big numbers at the game. So it's be a part of that for the players. I know they're having a good time, and yeah, a win. Nothing says I love you like a win. So
yeah, I should imagine you are. And the players putting it all out there. I mean, player of the match, Sam Monaghan, doing another decent job. I think whether win or lose, she's certainly out there doing the business, and actually with 12 carries and I think 72 meters we saw from her. That was pretty good. Adele McMahon, another one who was putting in 20 tackles. So there's no shortage of players standing up, is there?
Yeah, they're giving it everything they have. I mean, there's no doubt that the teams like France and like England are far ahead. They're exceptional teams, and going over to England in a couple of weeks is going to be a massive test for us. But at the same time, I think it's just another opportunity for us to learn about ourselves, and whatever happens in that game, we'll take the learnings from it, and we'll keep developing as a squad. Really proud of the group. I think it was pretty clear when Aoife Wafer got her cap in front of the stand just how much it meant to everybody, and to see the players' reaction for her is a sign, I think, that we're going in the right direction. But Sam Monaghan has been just eye-opening. One of the things that we want to do is let players come in and be themselves. It's really important. We want our players to feel like it's Christmas Eve every evening before coming into camp, and we see people like Sam coming in and bringing a great energy and working hard in their game, and with Giselle at Wasps as well, she's gotten great coaching and guidance. So, really proud that she's one of ours, and hopefully she can continue to enjoy her rugby.
Sunny Bill Sam, is that nickname stuff out there as well?
Yeah, it has. In fairness, and she's somebody who, she's got great banter. She's got good moxie about her as well. We always use that word in the Irish camp, but she's got total moxie, and I love that about her. She's
what does that mean?
It's I don't know if I thought it was a global term. It's an Irish term. Just somebody just got a bit of grit in them. Someone's got a bit of. It's hard to pick out a word that's not the wrong word to use live on. I think you've both been around the block to know, and she has it in spades. And it's something that a selection criteria was making sure that everybody had a bit of that in them. That they were going to be going through a very difficult journey, maybe at the start, trying to find their feet. Lots of new faces. And as long as they have that at their core DNA, I think you've always got a chance. So, look, it was great to win. There were some good performances, but at the same time, I think we also are aware it's a lot of work to do for where this team wants to get to, and we just have to get back on the horse and go again now this week, leading into a pretty tough tie against England.
Yeah, certainly will be. You mentioned Aoife Wafer getting her cap. I think actually now, thanks to Stella Mills and to our friends at Canterbury, we can see the moment she had to sing her song in front of everybody. Let's bring that in. Scenes you love to see. My question to you, Greg, is: do you know the song?
Of course I do. Yeah, you have to. I listen to a lot of music, but look, honestly, you can see how nervous she was to start singing, but the reaction of the players at the end is a genuine care there, and there's genuine love and a sense of belonging with this group. And as a head coach, that's probably the most important thing to me and my staff and to the players, is that you want them to develop memories that's going to live long with them for the rest of their lives. You just want to create a really good environment for them. And look, we're working all the time to try and make it better. But as I said to you, there's a terrific group of girls there that are doing the best they can at the moment. And at times, we're learning some harsh lessons, like we did against France away. Even like in the last 15 minutes against Wales, we learned some lessons, obviously against Italy, and we'll learn more against France and against Scotland. But as long as we keep working at getting tighter and getting better, I think we'll be in a good position.
I'm fascinated hearing you speak. Obviously, haven't had a head coach on here before. What's your main philosophy coming in? What's the one thing that you're trying to do with this group? Because the passion that you're speaking with and the way that you're talking about the girls, obviously that's shining through. But I'm just interested to hear your point of view on that.
Lovely to meet you.
Yeah, really nice to meet you. Sorry,
Sorry, I'd have done introductions. Sorry, I thought you'd have bumped into each other somewhere
All
along the way.
good. I'm a big fan.
Where are my manners?
I think, rugby is, I always say, like, it's an engine, it's a vehicle for so much more. So I think like, to be grateful for everything and entitled to nothing is pretty important. We're very privileged to be able to represent our country. We're all very proud, and I think it's important that every time we're doing anything, that we're thinking that it's about how you're reacting, it's about how you're carrying yourself, how your body language is. They're all really important things now, because there's so much out there that is tough and hard. And if there's anything that we can do that's going to give people just that little bit of enjoyment and make them feel like proud that they have a team out there trying absolutely everything just to represent the people, that's really important to me. And then obviously, like, I've been a skills coach for a long time, an attack coach. So you'd love to think that, as we go along this journey, that we'll develop in terms of how we play and how we use the ball. But at the same time, rugby, while you can be unstructured, it's also a game of structure. So we're seeing pretty early on the importance of the set piece, scrum and line out. And, at the start of the journey, I mean, like, a couple of things that have been most appealing to me is, like, Niamh Jones is our hooker. So after the weekend, she completed 45 tackles in the 3 games, and she's made 45. She's missed none. So it's like little things like that, but she's a little ripper around the squad. She brings such an energy, and I think, it's not just me, it's my staff. You have to be quite clever about who you pick to help you to guide the players, and then you have to be clever about who you pick. They have to be the right people to fit that mold of what you're trying to build. So look, at the moment, it's great for them to get the win, and obviously we've got bigger challenges ahead, but certainly it's just, it gives you that bit of I don't know, maybe just that sense that what you're doing maybe is going along the right path, and everyone gets a bit of confidence from it, and you get a little bit of momentum. And I think that's important for any team or for any business, that you get a sense that you're getting something back, a return of investment, if you will, because they're putting in a lot of work, like all teams are.
Yeah, excellent.
You mentioned England next up. What's the game plan going into that one then?
I'm not going to tell you that. Anyway. Look, I mean, it's kind of the equivalent of the England men's team playing against a club side, an Irish club side, in terms of the level of care and attention that they have gotten, for a number of years now. Obviously, Simon is a coach I've got a lot of time for. The English players are fantastic. They train hard. But it's just another good opportunity for us to test ourselves and to learn. I think I've been with teams in the past, from schools teams to provincial teams to international teams, where you start in a journey and you come up against, whether it's the All Blacks or whether it's Munster with Leinster, or whether it's Blackrock College when you're with St. Michael's College, who at the start would be a lot better. And you just need to keep picking away and keep learning and keep molding your group into being competitive. I think, our hope is to go on a summer tour this year, which is the first time Ireland have ever been on a summer tour. And then obviously when the World Cup is on, it'll be quite difficult watching that for the players. But then we know that there's a lot of transition post Rugby World Cup with coaching staff and with players. So if we can just continue to work and just keep grinding away at our craft and trying to get more comfortable and develop our understanding and the intelligence around the game, like, to be better decision makers, and I suppose train, to the demands of the game, or even greater than the demands of the game. So they're getting used to training at high speed. We're just hoping that maybe by the time next year comes along, that gap will be closed a little bit. And that's obviously our goal, is just to keep working and live in the moment as well. Like, you got to enjoy what you're doing, and you got to experience, like, you're an international rugby player. I mean, these are special times. So, when we're going away to the UK, we're enjoying the week. We're enjoying getting on a plane together, going through airports. We're enjoying getting to team hotels and having meals put out for us and being told what clothes to wear and going out and representing the country. They're all things that you want your players to actually enjoy, as opposed to, being too hard on themselves and not enjoying that experience. So,
Trying the exotic cuisine that England will have to offer, all that sort of stuff.
Fantastic cuisine, a nice pie. I hope to get a couple of pies over there in Leicester.
Brilliant. Listen, Greg, we haven't got too much time left. I don't want to throw something too serious at you, but obviously we heard news from New Zealand today that the reviews come out over there. I'm not going to ask you to comment on another head coach's position, but obviously we hear stories of players being ghosted with wanting to perhaps air their concerns, players not speaking up, lack of management structure, this sort of thing. You're the other side of that kind of hill. You're in a position where the IRFU have obviously had their review. We've seen other unions like Canada go through it. I imagine that for sort of players in New Zealand and a World Cup year, things may feel a little desolate at the minute. But how have you found being in an environment that is looking up, looking forward, and wanting to start something fresh, knowing that perhaps a few of the right and a few of the difficult questions have been answered?
Like personally, I come at it from a different angle. I think this is brilliant for the game that we finally have people who are being able to express themselves and say, look, we're not happy with the standard of resources or how the environment is going or the culture. And I think this is just a really important season for women's rugby because we're seeing, Wales going professional. We're seeing reviews happening in nations. And it's because everyone deep down now is beginning to take more heed of the game that's happening and given these resources because they're seeing how much of a buzz is out there. People want it. And we're seeing, it being done so well in England. Let's be honest. They're the flagship in terms of the league that they have, in terms of the pathway that they have. And that's what everything happens. Like it's the same in golf for Tiger Woods. Because of Tiger Woods, we've got all these young golfers who are phenomenal golfers. Same in the tennis world. So I think the key thing now is everyone's looking at England and saying, look, we need to change how we're doing things here. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to compete. So I look at it as being a really good thing. And it's a chance now for nations, hopefully, like Ireland did. We have a really good CEO that came in, Kevin Potts. Dave Nucifor has been brilliant through this as well. Staff have been brilliant. It was a tough time for the union, but I think everybody just wants to get on with it now. They want to see Ireland doing better and doing well. And hopefully that's what's happening in New Zealand, it's what's happening in Canada. And there might be another few nations that go through this, I suppose, this change where people are just saying, look, give us some more resources and back us because we're ready to fight now and we're ready to be at the big stage. And the more that happens, it's going to be great for the game because in the Six Nations at the moment, we still have us against France, for example. I mean, and maybe us against England. I don't know, where you have big score lines and we're seeing that across the board. So the more that Wales and Scotland and Ireland and Italy can improve their structures and improve their pathways, and I think we're going to see like a much better Six Nations, which will bring a bigger crowd and will bring more of a spotlight, and that's what we want. So I think this is good. I think what's happening in New Zealand is good. It's like everything else. Like let's just get on with it now. You found out you've had your review, now move on and just use your time wisely.
Yeah, good. Well said. I think we can all agree with that. Listen, we are pushed for time. We really appreciate you joining us, and delighted to have seen you guys get that win under your belt. And look forward to catching up with you again soon. But congratulations, enjoy the win, and I'm sure Mo will be seeing you somewhere around Welford Road in one capacity or another.
Yeah, I look forward. Thanks a million for having me on. Really appreciate it. I could look at everything.
Great to meet you, Greg. Thank you.
Thank you. Greg McWilliams there. All right, let's just have a quick look then at the fixtures for round 4 before we wrap things up here. So it's a Friday night game, Wales against France under the lights on the 22nd in a couple of weeks. Then we have Italy on the Saturday, a 7:20 game. These are all local time kickoffs on the Saturday. I'm going to be over there commentating on that in the World Feed. Then England against Ireland, that game at Welford Road. Can they set another record in England for another big crowd? Perhaps the East Midlands is hoping to get one up on the West Country on that. All eyes are going to be on that, and it may well happen. Exciting stuff to look forward to. That is it. We're going to wrap it up there. All good, Mo?
All good. Didn't realise the kickoff was that late. Not going to lie.
I'm assuming. Have I put that in wrong? That's probably me not putting the kickoff in right. But yeah, it's going to be a great round 3. Round 4 rather. I should say that we're not going to be back next Monday. We'll be back in 2 weeks, because we need a round to review on the Nick and Mo Show. That's how it works. So thank you very much for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed it. Our thanks to our guests, Sarah Bern, to Giada Franco, and to Greg McWilliams. But from the two of us for now, cheerio.